This is Justin AMZN on Monday, March 30th, 2020. Take a look at the daily. And something very cool, very special happened today on the daily. We got a close slightly above our uptrend channel. But beyond that, these four candles here form a really special pattern. So you had 2 days ago a new white soldier or one white soldier. So this is, and I know I'm calling it a white soldier, but it's green on my chart, yes, but it's a bullish candle that opened and closed above the prior day's bearish candle. Then you have a one black crow. So that is, obviously it's not black, it's red, but it's a bearish candle that closed below the previous day's close. And then today we have another gap up, making this another bullish gap and go, just like 2 days ago was. And today's candle triggers above the prior white soldier. This is called a battalion of soldiers. It's like, okay, you got a nice soldier here and a nice soldier here, and more than one makes it a battalion. So name is not my own. It actually comes from a good friend, Jeremy Alexander Newsom. I told him and others I'd give whoever guessed it or got it right a shout out. So there's your shout out. And let's continue to dive into to the chart. So digging into the 5-minute, we had a really nice gap up. So we had that sell-off into the close on Friday, chopped around a little bit pre-market, and actually made just kind of another triangle down here. Always looking for triangles. And you can see this consolidation here. It broke out, it retested. This is a really, really quick S-curve. But I mean, it definitely did that, right? Or more smoothly, it definitely did that, where you could have been buying that low right down here, right at pre-market resistance here. It did kind of some S curves in here as well, and then kept getting bigger. And then it just ran. It just totally ran. It was really bullish. And where did it stop? Right at our pivot, 1972.50. And from there, it put in a really nice hammer and didn't really reverse, but just kind of went sideways. Sideways to down. It did, I guess technically it did reverse. It did turn around and go back down. Came back to the 21, went sideways some more, broke down here, held a really strong high right in here. I was late to get into this. I mean, I didn't get into this. I waited for a while. I was getting in over here, and it's like, this isn't working. I'm going to get out, and just kind of scalped a tiny bit when it wasn't going. And then it broke down further, put a really nice hammer here, and then started to move back up. Again, did not get back into 1972.50, but that's okay. So this was a really strong bullish move. We're just talking about, we've been in this 1900 to 1925 range for days. We've got this consolidation going on easier to see in the hourly, but we really have some lower highs and higher lows coming together. So this is what I drew. Whoop, wait, it's not letting me draw. There we go. Okay, so we had this that I drew in here on Friday, and obviously we broke out today. So did get a little bit of a retest here. I was hoping for a bigger retest. I thought with the volatility we've had, we were actually going to retest 1925 better than we did. Obviously we did not. And then this was just like somebody throwing in some order here to get out or something. But this volume had 373 shares. So that's not really anything to look at. So anyway, on a 5-minute, you could have been buying right here as it paused at 1925. It looked like it was going to break out just with the strength that it got out of the consolidation pre-market. The 3-minute looks amazing. It actually, oh wait, was it the 1 minute? Let's look at the 3-minute first, and then I'll show you the 1 minute. If it'll cooperate. There we go. I think you had a couple more bearish candles in here. A little more resting, a little more indecision. I love this candle right here. This is a great retest. So I'm going to call this the first retest of the 1925. I still think we'll get another one. I think we'll come back down. I don't know that we're going to get a third, but this one is the first retest on a 3-minute. It doesn't even show up on a 5-minute. It's that strong. And what I should have said on the daily is this is a really strong pattern. If we take out the low of this pattern, so if we get below this first of the 4 candles that make this pattern, we'll go lower. If we can trade back down into this range and really hold above like the 21, as long as we don't get a close down here at the low of the first candle, then we should be okay. We can trade around in here, but this is a really strong pattern and really suggests that we should continue higher. I'm pointing all the way up here. If we get up here, I'm going to get that uncomfortable feeling like we shouldn't be up here again. We shouldn't be up here yet. You know, it'll make this really look like a V bottom if we get up here quickly. But it's got some strength to move. We did close above not just this bullish candle, but these bearish candles, this bearish candle, all these upper wicks. I was just talking about, you know, what that could look like. I thought it would be a little stronger. Honestly, I thought we were going to have a little more body up above this uptrend channel. So I really want to see how strong it's going to hold this. But we've got, we don't have a squeeze, but we have bullish momentum. We have an increase in volume, taking out the bearish volume from yesterday and, you know, obviously taking out the high from yesterday's bearish candle. Overall, it's just looking really bullish. So looking at the 5 minute or the 3 minute again, you could have set this up to go bullish with this pullback. You know, you see the S curve here. Sorry, my mouse just froze. I think I had to restart this thing. It's being really, really slow. Okay. So you could have bracketed this bullish and traded this up and taken out a little bit of profit at the high, or, you know, obviously just held on. But we moved up to the next pivot, which we haven't done in a little while. I'm way out of the money looking at strikes. So I'm back in the 5 minute looking at the 2100 call, and it put in an incredible low right around here at 3, or not a low, sorry. It kind of put in a nice base around this whole number 3. So you could have been getting into this with 3 by 2 was a nice setup. On this candle right at 9 o'clock was really breaking out. It paused a little bit here. Again, you know, looking at the 2100, you had some places you could have gotten in a little bit later, a little bit too late. When some people would say, oh, okay, you're chasing, you know, like the options can give you those opportunities because they move slower out of the money. If we move closer, like the 2050 call, man, this is going really slow. Okay. So again, wow, what did that just do? Okay. Sorry, it's jumping a little bit for me. Looking to get in for $100, you know, $100 risk. This was a little harder with the 2050 because you didn't have as clean of a base here. You put in some lows. So maybe, you know, to do $1 above these lows would have been like 627 or 637, you know, so maybe 6 by 5. So that would have been hoping that this one filled. The low here is 620. So probably, yeah, if you just did the exact amount, here is the low, 537 is the stop, you know, you could have gotten in at 637 by 537. But I mean, I rarely am picking a value at the exact low. I would have liked something like a round number, like 6 by 5 or 625 by 525. But you, again, would have had to been getting in this time, you know, before the 9 o'clock, before the 8:55 candle had completed, you know, getting in then, and then waiting to get in later doesn't work as well because even this hammer, which is a great hammer, you would have had to begin getting in 10 by 8 and played that bullish. Had another hammer here that was really nice on the way up, another one here, so inverted hammer here. Anyway, the best places to get in were right around 1925, and you know, we've been talking about this 1925 value for a while. Let me go back to the 5 minute to see. And actually today's move probably would have been easier on a 3 minute. Just because you can look at the options on a 3 minute, you can look at the stock on the 3 minute and, you know, really get in on one of those resting candles. You didn't get as much of a rest here. This is the best you had for a pullback on the 5 minute. So this was at 8:55. But again, where do you put your stop? It really comfortably would need to be way down here. And on the option, that's just a lot further away. So if you're getting in on the 8:55 candle, you're getting in on the pullback, the low of that candle. Yeah, you could have been doing 620 if you could have gotten filled there. Probably would have been filled like 650. But then your stop is going to be way down here around 525 or 5. So that's more than $100 risk. So the 2050 got to be a little more difficult. And then also we didn't have as many strikes. We were just talking about this for Friday's video. You have every $5 strikes. So just not every 250, but there, I guess there's still plenty of strikes in here that you could have, wait, I'm looking at 1800s. Sorry. All right, there weren't up here. So 2050, 2100, those are the two strikes I just looked at. You only have every 10 in between that. If we start to move towards this, it'll look like what we did Friday, where we move towards the the high 1800s, and it was every 10 for last week's strikes. So again, I don't know if that means something. I'm just pointing it out. And then on the bearish side, looking at the 1850 puts, this put in a really nice base around 8. The high that came in over here was at 950. And again, that's not going to be the low. So 950 was right here. This is not going to be the low on your put. You got to wait a while, especially when it's something going sideways and all that premium is getting sucked out. So it started to put in a really nice base right around $8. It pulled into that at 11.15. So at 11.15, what's happening? So you're retesting it. It consolidated up here, broke down, came back up, and it's going sideways here. So this is where it started to base at 8 up here on the puts. And anybody who's bullish wants it to push back up. And we learned on Friday, you know, it could push back up, but it may not get to that next pivot. And it didn't, you know, it didn't until the end of the day, you know, that breakout, that bull trap. But anyway, in this range, we're getting that low of 8, and then we get some more lows of 8. And then I don't think over here was putting in a low of 8. Let's see, from 12:30 to 1, what was it doing? What was the put down? Okay, so the put started to increase in value slightly through here. So you really would need to have gotten in between like 11:15 and like noon central to be getting in around 8. And again, if your stop's down at 7, if you have one of these quick pops back up to the high, it's going to eat up more than that $100 risk. So really, that's the risk you're taking, not knowing what the real range of the candle is going to be if it starts to make that move. If we go back here and go a little further away, let's see what the 1800 looks like. And again, it's a Monday, so we're looking at you know, what options that are further out of the money can do. Okay, so this put in a similar, oops, I did that again. Click the wrong thing. We'll delete this. Sorry, like I said, this is going really slow. Okay, so we put in a base. Didn't base is clean. 50 was the low. This one you could have been getting in like 3, but you're just going to scalp it and get out of 4. But I'd feel a little more comfortable that with $100, I could have a little more room from getting in at 4 and a stop down at 3, because we didn't move as from the 11. Was it 10? No, 950. Okay, we still came down a ways from the 950 candle. Came in actually a long ways. So again, you're going counter trend. You just want to scalp something for an R when you're doing that. But know that you're going counter trend, and it can easily move against you and just continue. Here's a volume spike. How many is this? So that's 101 contracts somebody was getting into or getting out of here, it looks like, or at least transacting. So had a couple of volume spikes on this strike, but again, just lower volume. We'll keep an eye on things, see if we can get a pullback into 1925, and then, you know, a bigger S curve, and, you know, continue on up. But all in all, we really want to stay. It'd be great if we can stay above 1925. We'll see what tomorrow holds. Like I said, if we get a bearish move back down, and we start taking out these bull candles and take out this pattern, look out, because this is a really strong pattern. If we break down here, then we've got further to go, I think. So that's kind of looking at how things traded on the daily, what's setting up on the daily, how things are moving on the 5-minute. And if we don't get a pullback, look for places to add on the way up. You know, if you were waiting for a bigger pullback, this pattern's telling me we may not get it now. And so if you can buy 1925, 1972.50, 1990, if you can start buying on its way up, wait for these S curves. Let me see if I can sketch what I'm picturing. But it's going to be similar to what we did on the way up over here. If we can move up, if we can pull back to this and then move up and get above and pull back and go up and pull back, you want to be buying here and want to be buying here and want to be buying here, because those get easier to hold. You're immediately profitable on its way up. But if you were getting in here, great, that was the right place to get in today, but it did make a much smaller S curve today. But right now, if you can wait to get in over here, knowing that this is probably not the best place to be buying, it's retesting basically a high here, it's retesting some of this triangle, but usually you get, from what a retest of, that was a really straight line. I think that's the straightest line I've ever drawn. And it's recorded. How cool. Anyway, I like to see a retest of the apex of the triangle, so this range. I don't know that we're going to get back to 1900. If we do, you could probably buy there with a much tighter stop, again, on its way up. Maybe not be buying right into it, wait for it to go sideways a little bit and bounce, but at least, look to be getting in, something like that on a day trade. On a swing trade, you're going to want a little wider stop. You're going to want something, you're getting in, sorry, I'm drawing too high. You're getting in here and your stop is, way down here or way down here. And so you're looking at options that are a little further out in the expiration, So anyway, we'll keep an eye on daily patterns and any more of the patterns we're seeing on some smaller time frames. But it's really nice to see Amazon looking really strong, and we'll see if we can get some continuation higher after some really good consolidation here. Hope this helps. This is Justin Amazon. Thanks.